Good morning, the Caravan here. It's 60 years to the day since the Munich air disaster happened. But it was an awful tragedy that happened to the club. Everyone was devastated by the awful events in Munich. It was snowing in Munich like it is today in the UK. Um, I've been thinking over the last couple of days, what if the Busby Babes were alive today, would they have won another European Cup as it was known back then? And for me, um, in my opinion, I think we would have won at least one or two more European Cups. In my opinion, for what I've read and heard, we were the best team in Europe or possibly in the world at that time. We had players like Duncan Edwards in the team as well, um, Roger Byrne as well, Liam Whelan. Um, so yeah, it's a sad day for Manchester United fans all over the world today. There will be a ceremony or memorial at Old Trafford today. That's live on MUTV for my subscribers in the UK and Ireland. Just to let you know, it's at 2 o'clock, if I remember correctly. There'll be a minute's silence as well. Michael Carrick will light a candle as well, being club captain, of course. I'm sure most of the players will be there. I'm sure the likes of Rashford and Pogba will be there, and Lingard as well, because they came through the academy, and I'm sure they would have been told about the Munich air disaster. And I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. Whether we sign in the summer or in the future, I would like Mourinho, especially, to tell the history about the club and tell them about what happened in Munich, because I feel it's important that especially young players and new signings, whoever comes in, understands what Manchester United is all about, what represents Manchester United, and yeah, we had a lot of great young players in that team, and it's a shame there's not a lot of footage going around nowadays, especially on YouTube. I would recommend a program the BBC made it. I think it was in 2010 or 2011. Can't remember the year. It's called United. It's absolutely fantastic. It's emotional. It's emotional, but great viewing. It's gripping as well. Um, the authorities, especially the Football League, didn't want United to play in Europe after the air disaster, which was fair play to Sir Matt Busby for defying them, because you look at the European Cup as it was back then. It was big, but now the rebranded Champions League. You could argue the Champions League is bigger than the World Cup, especially nowadays, especially with the money. And if you used to ask me what player I would like to see from that era, um, it has to be one player, and it's Duncan Edwards. For me, he was very very young when he died, and it's a shame. There's not a lot of footage for younger fans like myself and younger fans watching this video, because I've heard a lot of good things about Duncan Edwards, and it's a shame we didn't get to see him, especially on TV, on YouTube. Like, there's not enough clips of him. So yeah, it's going to be an emotional day for all United fans today. Yeah, you can tell by my voice. It's quite emotional today, and yeah, what I would like the players to do this season is to win the Champions League on 60 years on from Munich, because I remember we won the Champions League on the 50th anniversary of the Munich air disaster, and that's what I want the players to do. Um, like a tribute, shall we say? That would be fitting and fantastic for the club if we could win the Champions League this season. I would be thrilled. I'd be thrilled for the Busby Babes and for the family victims as well. I'd be thrilled. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of reasons why I support Manchester United, but one of the main reasons why I support Manchester United is because of the history of the Busby Babes, and uh, young players like Duncan Edwards was a trailblazer in terms of bringing young players into the club, and because when the air disaster happened, Real Madrid tried to lend us players, and we could. I've heard the story about this. I think it's either the Stefano Puskas. We could afford the wages, which was a shame because they were two of the best players in the world at that time, and also Liverpool. I'm sure, Liverpool helped us out as well. Well, when you look at the rivalry between Liverpool and United today, I find it quite sad, really, because it's too toxic for my liking. I don't like the trading insults bit. I don't like it when they mock each other's tragedies, and that's another thing. If I see a bad comment about the Munich disaster on the video or on Twitter, bye, hide you from the channel and I'm blocking you. I don't care if you followed me for the last 2 years or whatever. I'm sorry. Today's the day not to argue with any United fan or any football fan for that matter. Right. In terms of Mourinho, I think he understands the future about Munich. He understands about the Munich disaster because he wore like a little badge on Friday at his press conference, which was a class act, such a class act by Mourinho, and I think he understands United, and for the first time for a while we've got a manager who understands the history of the club and especially the Munich disaster. What I would like to ask the older fans, if there was any there when the Busby Babes were alive, I want to know how good was this team, and would they have been the best football team in history had they been alive today? Because like I said at the start of the video, I think we would have won a European Cup, maybe 2 or 3 European Cups had the Busby Babes stayed alive. And it's a shame, really. And another thing, Frankie Swift, the Man City goalkeeper, he died in the accident. Excuse me, as well. The Man City goalkeeper, and I think I was reading earlier on TV after the Paddy Credit show. There was about 5 or 6 journalists that died in the accident as well, and also a club secretary died as well, and it's a sad day for all United fans, especially for me today. I'm just gonna have to go through the day, to be honest. Right. If you've enjoyed the video, tweet me at Carrick for United. Subscribe to my channel, The Carrick Fan. Comment below that video. Adios.